Premier League's top 10 players this season named with Liverpool and Arsenal stars snubbed. The Premier League's top 10 performers have been determined by Opta, who gauge a player's performance based on key metrics, with Moises Caicedo ranked as the top flight's best player thus far. The Premier League's 10 best players so far this season have been determined by Opta's stats, with Chelsea midfielder Moises Caicedo the top performer after 3 games. England's top flight has paused due to the first international break of the season, allowing teams to take stock of where they're at following the opening weeks. Liverpool sit top with the only 100% record, and yet none of their players make the list so far. They've been impressive going forward, with Hugo Ekitike hitting his straps early, but the Reds have by no means produced scintillating performances to secure their 3 wins. They conceded 4 times in their first 2 games, against Bournemouth and Newcastle, and needed late winners on both occasions to pick up the 3 points. None of Arsenal's players have earned enough Opta points either, which is what has determined the early rankings. They are metrics that measure contribution to games via actions such as goals, tackles, and goal conceded. A player who plays 90 minutes will typically end up with totals between 10 and 40 points, and the player at the top of the tree averages 31.7 so far. Caicedo's influence in midfield has long been lauded, and he will be a crucial figure for the Blues. Another midfielder sits in second, in the form of Nottingham Forest's Elliot Anderson, who is now in the England fold. Trevoh Chalobah has enjoyed a renaissance at Chelsea, have previously been cut adrift by Enzo Maresca, but he's now become an influential figure in the backline. Tottenham's Guglielmo Vicario is the only goalkeeper in the top 10, after he kept 2 clean sheets. 2 playmakers in Bruno Fernandes and Lucas Paqueta, both men who've been on target this season, are ranked in 5th and 6th and continue to have major influence over games, particularly in the final third. João Pedro's impressive start at Chelsea has him in 8th. The Brazilian has scored twice in his 3 games since moving from Brighton. His Blues teammate Enzo Fernandez is narrowly ahead, meaning Chelsea have 4 players in the top 10, by far the most of any club. They remained undefeated, with their only dropped points coming in the goalless draw with Crystal Palace. Despite Manchester City's below-par start to the year, Erling Haaland scrapes into the top 10. He has scored 3 times, finding the net twice against Wolves. His former teammate Jack Grealish has also enjoyed an impressive start to life at Everton as he bids to reignite his career. The playmaker will spend the year on loan on Merseyside, and he's already provided 4 assists in his 2 starts under David Moyes. UEFA have cleared Chelsea over a potential sporting sanction in the Champions League after they managed to achieve a positive transfer balance in the summer transfer window. In July, the Blues were fined £26.7 million for not adhering to UEFA's financial controls, and also risked not being able to register new signings like João Pedro, Alejandro Garnacho and Estevão Willian for the Champions League had they not sold more players than they bought in the summer window. However, on Thursday, a UEFA statement confirmed. The squad list submitted fulfilled the criteria of the settlement agreement, and it was therefore already reviewed and approved before publication on UEFA's website. This summer, Chelsea specifically sold players who were Conference League staples, including Noni Madueke, Christopher Nkunku, Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, João Felix and Renato Veiga, as the Blues broke the Premier League record in player sales. In fact, the last few days were all about sell for Chelsea, having added 8 of ultimately 9 new signings to the squad. Only Facundo Buonanotte arrived on deadline day, a season-long loan from Brighton. However, when Liam Delap pulled up at 12:44 p.m. on Saturday, it sent Chelsea into panic mode. In the hours before the match, AC Milan had completed a move for forward Christopher Nkunku, and the club had allowed Nicholas Jackson to travel for a medical at Bayern Munich. As the seriousness of Delap's injury became known, Chelsea reneged on the deal with Bayern, prompting an angry reaction from Jackson and his representatives. Chelsea assessed 3 things: the opportunity of signing Sporting's Conrad Harder, the option of recalling Guiu, and finally a choice to bring Jackson back. Ultimately, the club felt Guiu's return was the better choice given he has Premier League experience, unlike Harder, plus he knows the system and has the attributes to succeed. According to Football Transfers, Chelsea's net spend is £1.5 million, with £285 million spent on the likes of Delap, João Pedro, Jamie Gittins and Alejandro Garnacho. This was countered with £283.5 million of sales, which included Noni Madueke, Joao Felix and Nkunku. Add-on fees also take Chelsea into a positive balance. Chelsea also offloaded almost all of their unwanted loanees, but Raheem Sterling and Axel Disasi remain stranded in the bomb squad. They have sold over £750 million worth of players to partially balance the more than £1.6 billion spent on incoming transfers over the past 3 years. New Chelsea signing left with egg on face 48 hours after excited declaration. Club World Cup champions Chelsea have named their squad for the Champions League's league phase, and one of Enzo Maresca's summer signings hasn't made it onto the list. Chelsea new boy Facundo Buonanotte spoke of his excitement at playing Champions League football when he joined the Blues on loan from Brighton. Just 48 hours later, though, that dream was dashed as Enzo Maresca left the Argentine out of his European squad. Buonanotte completed one of the more surprising deadline day switches. The 20-year-old had been linked with Leeds after spending last season on loan with relegated Leicester, but instead finds himself at Stamford Bridge. I am very happy. It is the first time that I will be playing in the Champions League, and I hope we can have a great season, Buonanotte told club media after joining the Blues. I am looking forward to playing with everyone. Sadly for the South American, there was no place for him in Maresca's squad for Europe. He isn't the only one to miss out, with out-of-favour winger Raheem Sterling also left off the list. Teams in the Champions League are also able to include players aged 21 or under on a B list, but only if they have been at the club for 2 years or more. This allows the likes of Romeo Lavia, Josh Acheampong and Tyreek George to all feature without being named on the A list, but the same doesn't apply to new arrival Buonanotte. Chelsea go into this season's Champions League as reigning Club World Cup holders, having beaten European champions Paris Saint-Germain in the final. Their campaign begins with a tough away game against Bayern Munich, while their first home game will see Benfica visit Stamford Bridge on September 3rd. The 2021 Champions League winners haven't taken part in the competition since the 2022-23 season, when Thomas Tuchel was sacked after their first group game and successor Graham Potter led them to the quarter-finals. Real Madrid stood in their way on that occasion, winning 2-0 home and away. Blues boss Maresca will take charge of Chelsea in his homeland of Italy for the first time after his team was handed away trips to Atalanta and Napoli. The game in Naples will pit him against former Blues boss Antonio Conte, once his teammate at Juventus during the pair's playing days. Napoli just won the league with Antonio Conte and Atalanta in the last 5 or 6 years, with former manager Gianpiero Gasperini are for me one of the best Italian teams, also in Europe, Maresca said. Both are very good teams, and I am happy to go back to Italy, especially to eat some good food. I'm excited for the Champions League. We are happy to be in the draw. We are happy, very happy, because we brought this club where this club